Hello. Let's talk about public art, should we? I'm going to start with a statue, if that's the word for it, on Boston Common. Here, The Embrace, a monument to celebrating Martin Luther King, to be unveiled on Boston Common. And this is it, 22 feet tall. It's in memory of Martin Luther King, of course, and his wife Coretta Scott King. And it's supposed to record the embrace they shared after the Reverend King won his Nobel Prize. Now, many of you watching this in other parts of the world than the USA might not know about this statue, if that's what it is. I should think most of my American viewers would know about it. So when I say prepare yourselves, I am of course referring to the innocents who, when someone says Martin Luther King, immediately think of I have a dream. Well, if you don't want to have your dream turned into a nightmare that would have done credit to Hieronymus Bosch, then look away now. So this is the official photo of the King Monument. So far, so, well, a little bit weird. Here, let's have a look at the Bosch picture, for instance. It does have a similarity, doesn't it? It's detailed from the Garden of Earthly Delights, by the way. Now, as I say, so slightly Boschian and a little bit weird, but the weirdness turns into something else altogether when you look at it from another angle. And that's quite a tribute, I'd say, but a tribute to what is another matter. Anyway, I did think of actually using a word that could be used to describe a piece of construction of that type, but I decided maybe it could have been taken the wrong way. Moving swiftly on, I don't want to be accused of criticising the speck in the American eye when we over here have an entire tree in our own. Let's look at these portraits of Charles and the Queen. Council under fire, it says, for King Charles mural, which looks more like a spitting image puppet. And as indeed it does. Apparently, Northampton Town Council spent nearly £2,000 on this work of art. Let's see, there they are, which is on a hoarding directly opposite their municipal art gallery. Now, it may have been put there to make what was in the art gallery look good. And it illustrates what happens when you let the council loose on anything. To quote Ronald Reagan, the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Which works only if you regard I'm as one word. But then Reagan was from the government, wasn't he? Anyway, Northampton Town Council employed 2 artists to paint this piece of deathless stuff. And I did want to show you something like a similar sort of Hieronymus Bosch painting with which to liken it. But unfortunately, what with the bad weather and all, I couldn't make it over to the local kindergarten to ask the teacher if she had anything the kids had done that the parents didn't want to take home. So this will have to stand on its own. I might also tell you that the painting was... hang on, where are the names? Oh yeah, the council actually had the painting done by 2 artists, Liam Freeman and Mess White, of a cooperative or a conglomeration called Spray Cats, which actually, you know, if you're the council and you... I'm going to sneeze. Well, seeing as I had to take a break for a sneeze, I think maybe I'll just tell you I'm granniopteryx on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. I am also on Twitter, Gab and Parler, at granniopteryx, and I'll let you know when I've uploaded any new video on those platforms. Please help my channel by liking it, click that like button, sharing and subscribing. if you're on YouTube, remember sometimes subscriptions just disappear. So just check that you still have an active subscription. You can also help my channel financially, buy me a coffee. One of the other two links in the description, wherever it is. All the links to the information I've given you are in the description. All right, let's get back. Where was I? Two artists called Liam Freeman and Mez White of Spray Cats, which is described online as an innovative urban design agency specialising in illustration design and large-scale murals. Well, yeah, I think maybe the council might have had a clue about the quality of the art from the name of the company or the association or the cooperative or whatever. Spray Cats. It's not very inspiring. Right, now I'm going to go on to this. This is in Trafalgar Square. Malawi's John Chilembwe gets statue in London's Trafalgar Square. Of course, this is a project set forward by our Nightmare of London, Sadiq Khan. Now, it's actually rather a good piece of work as a sculpture, but it's... Well, hang on, I'll just tell you. It's a statue of a 19th century priest called John Chilembwe, who led a revolution against British rule, colonialism in Malawi. Now, as a matter of fact, he had enough money and knowledge of the world because of British colonialism to actually go and live in America for a while and come back with ideas about freedom and all the rest of it. Here's a photo of Chilembwe with his British mentor, John Chorley. But the sculptor, Samson Kambalu, did this, okay, which, it's not an optical illusion. Chorley is shown as less than half size. Look, he didn't have to put Chorley in at all. And if there was a statue of Chilembwe on his own, I wouldn't have objected to that. I wouldn't have seen anything wrong with it. It's a bit of a shame that such an obviously accomplished piece of sculpture should also be such a lie. I mean, Chorley was a big influence in Chilembwe's life. Now, what's happened to Malawi, by the way? It's 26 out of 47 countries in sub-Saharan Africa for being a successful society. So it's 26th down, and it's 134th of the freest in the world out of a total of 197. So I'd say Malawi is a bit of a hot mess at the moment, and I don't think it's doing so great. And as accomplished as this statue is, I reckon that Chilembwe isn't worthy of being remembered in this way. He was a violent revolutionary. There are many deaths laid at his door, and he finally got shot trying to sneak into Mozambique, and he wasn't shot by the British, he was shot by African soldiers, and he was a disaster for Malawi. And as I said, Malawi hasn't really recovered from that. Now, if you want my opinion of the best of one of Africa's leaders, and well worthy of a monument, is somebody called Seretse Khama. He wasn't a revolutionary. He was a diplomat and a politician. And he suffered all sorts of hardships, but ended up making his country into a very successful one. For marrying a white woman in 1948, this African chief was forced to give up his throne by the British. Actually, it was by the then Labour government. Anyone who says that socialists are less racist than Tories should just remember this. Seretse Khama was an heir to the throne of Bechuanaland, as it was then, and he gave up his royal status because the Labour government forced him to marry a British white woman. He went into politics. He was of such solid personality. He became the Prime Minister. He gained Bechuanaland's independence through diplomatic means and set his new country, which is now called Botswana, onto a path of democracy, stability and prosperity, which persists to this day. Sadiq Khan, though, chose to put a statue of the violent Chilembwe in Trafalgar Square instead. Why was Karma ignored? Was it because he gave up his social position to marry a British woman? Or was it because the Labour government at the time exiled Karma and his wife because of their interracial marriage? Whatever it was, Khan chose to commemorate this man instead of this one. So we have here this problem, don't we? Public art. We get Sadiq Khan, who obviously hates Britain, and he's doing whatever he can to bring it down. So he has a statue of a violent revolutionary whose revolution fizzled out in blood. As against somebody like this, who was a bridge between two nations. Oh no, we can't have anything like that. And we have these idiots in Northampton who think that this is good artwork. They wouldn't know good artwork if it jumped up and bit them on the nose. And then you've got people who commission this. Oh yeah, this is all avant-garde and strange and yeah, really impressive. And then they don't look at the mock-up, because there's always a moquette before you do a large-scale thing like this. I don't know what they're going to do with this, but my thought is that it will be quietly removed as an affront to public decency in an end. And I think it cost, let's see, how much did it cost? Oh yeah, okay, the university pledged 250,000, the whole thing cost 10 million. 10 million for a giant okay. Till next time. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the granniopteryx design or Granbo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.granniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.